Hi everyone, the video that you are about to view is part of a series of videos all on the topic of video production, which I am making specifically for small businesses and nonprofits. There are two different ways that you can participate. You can watch this video, of course, right here on YouTube, or you can take my class over on Thinkific, in which case there's a link down below in the video description. If you take the course through Thinkific, it's $100 for all 12 classes. You get access to project files, demo footage, and a lot more. That's it for my intro. Let's get to the class. Hello everyone, and welcome to the first chapter of my 12-part series on video production for small business owners and nonprofits. We have quite a few topics to cover in this chapter, including we're going to discuss some of the different camera settings on your iPhone. I'm going to show you how to use a few inexpensive pieces of equipment that will help elevate the quality of your footage, and a lot more. Let's start by talking about some of the camera settings that you might want to review on your iPhone. It's important to go over this part now because those settings can dramatically affect how much space photos and videos take up on your iPhone, and once we get into Final Cut Pro, it also affects the size of the Final Cut Pro library. If you are following along at home, I'd like you to go into Settings on your iPhone, then we're going to scroll down a little bit until we get to Camera Settings. Now let's tap on where it says Format, and as you can see here, we have two options, High Efficiency and Most Compatible. These settings affect both photos and videos. While you're learning the basics, I strongly suggest that you use High Efficiency mode. Let's now go back a menu and look at a few other settings. For now, let's go into where it says Record Video. As you can see here, we have two sets of numbers, the resolution and the frame rate. The higher the resolution, the higher the quality of the images, and the higher the frame rate, the smoother those images will appear. Normally, if I'm filming some sort of an event with my iPhone, usually I'm filming at 4K resolution and at 30 frames per second. But that being said, that's because I always buy an iPhone that has plenty of space on it. And eventually, when it makes its way to my computer, I have plenty of storage on that end as well. So to be honest, 1080p is probably fine for most of you, although the nice part about filming at a higher resolution is you have a lot more ability to fine-tune images later on in post-production. I felt a few topics were important to address in the first chapter of this course, and one of them has to do with the decision of where you want to store your footage. Anytime you're creating a video project, you can choose to keep that footage on your local hard drive, which means you need to have enough free space to support it, especially since video projects can balloon in size over time, or you need an external hard drive. While you will always get the best performance if you keep your files local, provided you get an external hard drive that utilizes the fastest connection your computer has available, it is possible to get a very similar experience while keeping all of your files on an external hard drive. So here's what I do. When I am filming from my home in Palm Springs, California, I have a 27-inch iMac, which is around 2 years old, and I paid around $5,000 for that computer. And because I have a 3 terabyte hard drive, I'm able to keep all of my footage local while I'm working on a project. Then when I'm done with that project, I usually export a final cut of it to an external hard drive, and then usually if I'm doing the project for a client, it's an ongoing project, then maybe I'll store the Final Cut library, but for the most part, I don't, and I just delete it. Right now, as I'm filming this course, I am back in Provincetown, Massachusetts for the summer, and of course it was impossible to ship my 27-inch iMac, so for 1/5 of the price, I bought one of the brand new Mac Minis with an M1 chip, and then I plugged in a 2 terabyte external hard drive that connects through the Thunderbolt port. Now, I am embarrassed to say this, but I can significantly edit faster on the computer that cost under $1,000 than I can on my $5,000 iMac back in Palm Springs. Why, you ask? The answer is this M1 chip technology and the future versions of that chip that are going to come out in the future. It is able to run incredibly efficiently, which will definitely benefit you when you're working in Final Cut Pro. So if you do decide to go with an external hard drive solution, what I would strongly suggest is that you absolutely get one that uses the fastest connection that your computer has available to you. Now, it's impossible for me to make a recommendation for everyone because, let's face it, Apple has released many different models over the years, and those different models have different connections. So what I will do is list links to some of my favorite external hard drives down below in the notes section. Also, please note I have a page on my website techtalkamerica.com, which has product recommendations, including external hard drives. To HDR or not to HDR? That is the question. One of the topics that I wanted to briefly address in this course is the topic of capturing HDR video. If your iPhone has that feature available, you will find it here in the Record Video menu. Now, if you're not familiar with this term, HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. It's a really amazing technology that is great if you're looking to create something like a short film. But that being said, one of the things that I have to do as a teacher whenever I'm considering a topic and do I want to cover it, is I have to consider the fact of, is this relevant enough to the audience? And is this going to overcomplicate things and cause people anxiety? So listen, for that reason, I've decided to not include HDR in this course, and part of the reason why is it does add an extra layer of complexity once we get into editing. And the last thing that I want to do is make any of you at home feel overwhelmed. So for now, I'm going to ask that if you have HDR on, please consider turning it off and just save yourself some complications when we get to editing. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll be right back. Let's talk for a moment about audio solutions. Depending on what types of content you're looking to create, as well as the general noise level at your work environment, the microphone that is built into your iPhone may in fact be all that you need. But that being said, if you do ever need to add something like a voiceover, or if you work in a place that has a lot of background noise, I would like to take a quick moment to show you the product that I am wearing right now. This is the Clip Mic Digital 2 microphone made by Apogee. This microphone literally just came out, and if you would like to check it out, I have a link for you down below in the notes section. Hands down, my favorite feature of this microphone has got to be the fact that it has interchangeable plugs, which means you can use this to plug it into your iPhone or iPad, you can plug it into your PC or Mac, and there's even a USB-C connector, so if you get one of the newer Macs, you can connect to that directly. There are two types of situations where I think this could be a perfect solution. Let's say you or one of your employees is going to appear on camera and give a little interview, but the problem is that the location where your business is has a lot of background noise. No worries, all you need to do is plug Clip Mic Digital 2 right into your iPhone, and you can manually control the audio levels from their free iPhone app named Meta Recorder. The other situation where I think this microphone is perfect is anytime you need to add a voiceover track to your project. By the way, it comes in a great little travel case too. There are a few different ways that you can stabilize your video, including using a tripod or a tripod adapter, but I want to show you one of my favorite devices that I use with my iPhone. If you've never seen this type of device before, this is a type of device known as a gimbal. I've owned around 10 of these things over the years. I use them all the time, especially when I'm making my droning Provincetown videos. They range anywhere from $100 to several $1,000s. This one I paid under $100 for. It is one of the best ones that I've ever owned, and I want to show you a little bit about it. So this is the Smooth Q3 made by the company Zhiyun. So let me give you a little quick demo of how it works. So you can use this with virtually any phone. All you have to do is pull this part open, snap your phone in. You want to make sure that the big chunky part right here is off to the right. And then, here, let's load in my iPhone right now. So I'm plugged in right now to my microphone. Then from there, the power button is on the back side, and all you have to do is press and hold it for around 5 seconds. So watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See? So now it's stabilizing my iPhone. Now, whenever I film, I always film in landscape mode, and this is one of the features where these guys are so much better than their competition. So watch this. So if you notice on the back, we have a little trigger in addition to the power button. And when I click it 3 times, it will flip my phone from portrait mode over to landscape mode. Now, normally when you do this, you would not have the microphone plugged in, so I've got to kind of help it a little bit. So normally you would plug in the microphone later on, but check this out. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see, I got to just guide it. 1, 2, 3. Whoop, there we go. See? So now it is stabilizing my phone. And check this out. There's these little legs here, so I can set it down like a tripod. How about that, right? Now on the front part, if I rotate this, we have a little joystick, so I can rotate this. And then when I go to move my arm, check it out. It keeps it always level. So it's really great for giving you those smooth shots, and there are definitely some tricks to using this thing, and we're going to go over those once we get out to the field, which is in the next episode. A couple of other things that it's great for is, let's say you're in a situation where you don't have the greatest light and you just need a little extra pop more light. Well, see this top part? Check this out. If I press and hold down for 2 seconds, there's an extra light, and you can rotate it so that it can face your subject, or it's a little hard for me to do this while it's on, but it can also face you. Just trust me on that last part. One of the techniques that I wanted to make sure that we talked about in this chapter is how to lock down both focus and to manually change the exposure. And I have a perfect example that I would like to use to demonstrate this. Sometimes when you're filming in certain types of conditions, you may need to help guide your iPhone to let it know where to focus. The easiest way to do that is to press and hold down on the part of the image that you want to lock in focus. If you look to the side of that box, you'll also see a little sun icon. And if I drag up or down on that, you'll see that it manually makes it brighter or darker. This past weekend, I was hanging out with my friend Del Shores, and we went to go see a friend of his, a very talented woman by the name of Debbie Holiday, perform a Tina Turner tribute concert. This is an example of the footage that Del got. And this is an example of the footage that I took. Let me show you why our footage looks so dramatically different. Anytime you are filming in this type of environment, for example, a theater, where you have some areas that are very, very well lit and others that are in total darkness, the trick is to lock down the focus on your subject, again, by pressing and holding down, then drag down in order to lower the exposure. Anytime you are filming in a theater-like setting, you pretty much always need to lower the exposure to keep certain areas from blowing out. By the way, if you do want to see more of that video, it's pretty cool. Debbie is one hell of a vocalist. The video that I made is linked down below. It's under 5 minutes long. It has absolutely nothing to do with this class, but I do think it does a pretty good job of demonstrating what you can accomplish using only an iPhone and a gimbal. Thank you for watching, everyone. We will be right back after this brief commercial break. Because this is a beginner's class, I'm going to ask that you consider using the stock camera app that comes with your iPhone. But that being said, I did want to give shoutouts to 2 other apps. The first app is Film Mic Pro, which is free and has certain features that you can only access with an in-app purchase. Still, it's pretty reasonable. What's great about Film Mic Pro is it gives you total control over all of the different settings. And sometimes you want that, and other times there's something to be said for the simplicity of the built-in camera app. The other app that I did want to recommend is called ZY Cami. That is the companion app to the Zhiyun Smooth Q3. By the way, that is apparently how it is pronounced. So obviously, only download that app if you do decide to buy this gimbal. And the sole reason for that recommendation comes down to one feature, people. That is the ability to capture motion time-lapse, which is really cool. I've taken the legs off of my gimbal, and if you look here, you will notice that we do have threading, so you could screw this into something like a tripod or even a lighting stand, and that way you can capture perfectly smooth motion time-lapse shots. It works amazingly well with both the interior and the exterior of your business, and when you're doing the exterior shots, it's really cool if you can get it so that traffic is going by or foot traffic. I realize this next segment may sound off topic, and for some of you, it may be totally irrelevant to the type of content you're looking to create. But I felt it is worth mentioning because a lot of people out there do feel uncomfortable about appearing on camera. There is one product that I would like to show you that I have been using for the last year. This works incredibly well for both men and women, and it works with all skin tones. The name of this product is called Max Shine by Peter Thomas Roth, and no, they are not sponsoring this segment. They did recently change the packaging, so please ignore how this bottle looks. I'll give you a link down below. What this stuff basically does is it puts a matte finish on top of your skin. It feels totally bizarre to the touch. It's like these little silicone-like balls, and you have to be very careful when you squeeze it out of here because it can shoot out. And the key areas that you want to apply it to are your forehead and nose, but sometimes I will also apply a little bit to the cheekbones. I know a lot of men out there feel weird about wearing makeup on camera, but seriously guys, if there is only one product that you're going to put on just before going on camera, this is the stuff to buy. The only other tip that I would give you is that it's a good idea to wash your face first and then apply a light moisturizer and then this at the end. I want you to think about something for a moment. How often when you are watching YouTube videos do you see ads for local businesses? Not too often, right? Well, that just proves that this is the perfect opportunity for you to stand out before more people get into this type of marketing. Okay, this next part is absolutely critical because of how we are going to distribute your video and because we are targeting a locally based audience. When you are filming your commercial, I encourage you to get a ton of different shots of local, identifiable landmarks. What do I mean by landmarks? That can include parks, statues, restaurants, downtown areas, crosswalks, different types of signage, of course, including the sign that says "Welcome to" wherever you live. Here's the reason why those shots are so critical. There is a type of ad on YouTube that people can skip after 5 seconds. So those first 5 seconds are critical to capturing someone's attention. So if we can create a montage of local images that are familiar to that person, it's going to help capture their attention. One of the tools that you can use to tell the story of your business is to incorporate older still photos to show progression. So for example, if you have a picture of what your business looked like when you first started it and contrast those images with present day images, that can be a very effective way to show that growth and communicate that story. Later on in this course, I'm going to teach you how to use a feature called the Ken Burns effect to bring a little bit of movement to those photos. If you have older photos that have not been digitized, I encourage you to download the app called PhotoScan, which is made by Google. That app allows you to use your iPhone to digitize those images, and it can even remove reflections. It's pretty straightforward to use, and it's free. And you can find that app in the App Store. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will be right back after this brief commercial break. There are a few different ways that you can transfer footage from your iPhone to your computer. You would think that the fastest way would be to plug it into your computer just using a cable, right? Wrong. The fastest way to move files from your phone to your Mac is to use AirDrop. Now, for anyone out there who is not familiar with AirDrop, I want to talk you through this because I've worked with a lot of small businesses over the years, and I have found that this is one of those technologies that a lot of people out there have heard of but don't necessarily use. So let's go through it briefly. If you're on one of the newer iPhones, I want you to swipe down from the top right corner and look for this icon. Then you're going to press and hold on it to reveal a few different options, including AirDrop. So just make sure that that is on, and it really doesn't matter if it's set to everyone or contacts only. For me, I usually just set it to everyone. Now let's switch over to the Mac side. I'm going to open up a Finder window and you should see AirDrop as one of the options here at the top left. And now I'm going to click on that and just make sure I have the same privacy options here at the bottom of this window. So now that both devices are communicating with each other, let's AirDrop some files. I'm going to start by opening up the Photos app, tap on Select here at the top right, and now I'll just tap on a few different files, and from here at the bottom left, I'll tap on the Share button, and now all I have to do is tap AirDrop. Anytime you AirDrop files from your iPhone to your Mac, the default location is always the Downloads folder. We will go over how to organize those files in a later chapter, but for now, I just wanted to make sure you all knew the best way to move files from your iPhone to your Mac. I'm going to end this chapter by giving you a very minor homework assignment. In a few paragraphs, I want to hear a little bit about you and your business. Also, I would love to hear, if you don't mind letting me know, how you heard about this course in the first place and what you hope to accomplish by the end of it. Okay, so that does it for this chapter. In chapter 2, we are headed on a little bit of a field trip to meet Josiah and Katie, who own a small business by the name of Chequesset Chocolate, and using only iPhones and the equipment that we have discussed in this video, we are going to film a little commercial, and at the end of the next chapter, those of you who are following along on Thinkific will end up getting access to the footage that we shot, as well as the project files, and also a whole lot more. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Class dismissed.